It's time to get underway with Cyclops versus SSG. We're going to do battle on Chalet, Nick, as this will be the first of at least 2 maps that we see.
Absolutely. 48 in favor of Cyclops, 52 in favor of SSG. A vote much closer than I personally anticipated. We're going to be seeing the operator bans Cyclops starting on defense, means they ban the first attacker, and that'll be on your screen in just a second. Bang! It is the Ying. We spoke about respect. We spoke about SSG possibly banning the Monty, but instead, it's Cyclops respecting hot and cold's Ying. So brutal on that operator. It's a huge value factor for SSG on maps like Oregon, and I'm sure, actually, I know for a fact, they also played on Chalet.
Now, for what it's worth, neither of these teams have played Chalet so far here on the 6th Invitational. Apologies if we are just retreading old ground that was said on the desk. We are aware that some of you, especially upon rewatch, might not have the desk component alongside the actual live action. So if we're repeating ourselves, apologies. But we're doing it for the show, man. Chalet showed up as a tiebreaker map between Liquid and SSG, but other than that, it has not appeared in any of the matchups that these two teams have played in, so we are on new ground when it comes to the 6th Invitational. Of course, both Cyclops and Space Station have played Chalet outside of this event if you go back into their respective regional leagues. Operator bans are in, Nick, and walk us through them. We talked about Ying, you in particular. Thatcher is pretty normal. Valkyrie and Mira, nothing special about either of those on a map like Chalet.
No, quite standard. SSG, it's worth noting that they are pretty much known, in my opinion, for target banning specific operators whenever they play opponents on each and every map. But this time around on Chalet, it's pretty standard. And I think it's because that we haven't really seen either team played at this event. I'm not sure either team knows exactly what to expect. The Ying ban, as I mentioned, I think it's a safe bet for Cyclops. Of course, we can question the no Monty ban, but at the same time, SSG, I'm sure they got a way to break it apart, and they start on attack, so if you can just rack up 4, 5, 6 rounds, go on to defense, I don't think the Monty can carry you that far.
Opening up the wall inside a snowmobile garage, and now applying some of their attention onto the wall that goes into that back bar. This is a really pivotal spot for teams to play out of. It is a power position. It allows you to govern over a hatch upstairs in a library. It allows you to watch Big Window. It allows you to watch the actual bomb sites itself, and it only really leaves you susceptible when reinforced from main lobby. First kill of the series, by the way, is on the Alligator. Down the Wamai goes, and SSG with Bosco getting that kill will start off the festivities.
Very nice for them. You could question Gatorada. Why is the new meat jammer on that wall if it's so important? But that's the thing. It's a very big map. You gotta choose. We're excited to put the utility down. And speaking of utility, there's nothing on these blue stairs, which means Rambi can just walk on up. He might just find something free. There is no refragability. It's just him alone. I don't think he's gonna get too aggressive, but you never know, as CAG can just be running into his face at any given moment. They're known for their aggression, and Gatorada and Black Ray both taking a ton of damage while we're watching Rambi creeping on up.
It was Fultz who was the one doing some damage to Black Ray, not sure for Gatorada. Rampy still on these stairs, Suzu not too far above him. The magnet waiting patiently, anything that's thrown in that direction will be eaten on up. Rampy makes some noise, giving the idea or illusion that he's going down. The nade misses. Suzu's still alive, one from Black Ray onto Fultz. Teams equal at a 4v4, and now Bosco falters to Aniton. The smoke getting on the board. SSG with that early advantage, but they are very quickly losing the plot as yet another body goes down. That's on to Rampy. Hot and cold, sheets the grenade, but a nice 2-piece as an air jab knocks off Aniton into the nade, but it doesn't matter because off sight and off screen, the remaining players from SSG get gunned down one by one, and Cyclops on their own map will start it off with a round win.
And there is that energy that Jackie was talking about before the match started. That is Cyclops, that is APAC, and that is also often LATAM. Whenever these teams play, there is no doubt if you are in the vicinity of the area that you will hear them. And you will hear them each and every round, and that kind of mindset, that kind of vibe that you're brewing inside the team, it can carry you forward, especially because if the vibes are high, so often will the performance be as well. And we speak about SSG, sometimes they can get inside their own head, and if you're starting on Chalet and you got Cyclops taking the first round, even though you got the opening kill, that can be quite frustrating. You gotta keep yourself into it. I got a Thunderbird shotgun, and we've seen that once before. Elevate was the team to bring it, and now Cyclops joins them as well. This is APAC supremacy, and I've known Dev Mata right now. He is laughing in the green room because he's loving what he is seeing. And SSG, they might not know it's coming, but oh, once he starts firing, towards their bodies, they will know for sure the damage that shotgun can do is really brutal and extremely hard to play against on this close quarter bomb site of basement. But that is only if SSG cannot break the walls, because once they get broken, the range gets opened up and BlackRay takes a ton of damage. But again, remember, there's a Thunderbird on the board.
That is correct. And the Thunderbird has access to the shotgun, not the spear. So close range will be the name of the game for Gator's operator. BlackRay can get back to one of the Kona stations, then the Alibi will be in significantly better shape. And for BlackRay, miles and miles ahead of the rest of the team in terms of kills with 5. For a second, Skies saw some limb, an appendage, by the doorway leading into blue and is waiting for a peek out, but looked the wrong way and you'll be punished for it. Trying to give as little of his own body away with the Thunderbird playing close. Bearing 9 will be the primary weapon. Nades get tossed out, 2 big kills from Skies, he'll start it off. From above, Anyton can cover through the hatch, but you'll have to drop to get to the bomb site. You're losing the rest of your teammates. Down goes Suzu as well. A nitro cell from Anyton goes out, does not connect. Trapped inside a connector and under fire. That means the Vigil will have to walk on down. Adarada shooting away. 1 for Anyton on the flank to come back in, but the diffuser will be the most troubling aspect for Cyclops. Gadarada still watching these angles. Not much you can do, just continue to flick away, no real intel. Where's Anyton? That's the real question. Heading through blue to assist the rest of the team. And the Kona stations will actually give away Anyton's position. But nobody from SSG is too keen to engage. They wait back quite patiently, and they have tons of time to do so. Skies is in, that's 3 kills. 4, not attainable. Anyton says no thanks, that's enough. But with very limited time, you've got to find those last 3 players of SSG and hop on the diffuser. Almost impossible to see that done. Try as they might, it was a good effort from Cyclops, falls short. And on the 3rd round, Space Station finally gets on the board.
Yep, on the board we are 2-1 scoreline, and the Thunderbird stations, or Kona stations, did quite a lot of work that round. Not only did they reveal the positions of Anyton in that 2vx, but they also managed to fully heal up 2 players from the side of Cyclops. So value-wise, the Thunderbird doing really good job, but ultimately it doesn't really change the round. One-shot headshots will always be one-shot headshots, and gunplay doesn't matter with the health, because as long as you're precise, you will fall really quickly on land. Remember, we're playing 0 ping, 0 latency, amazing hit reg. That means almost without guarantee, everybody will die extremely quickly. Remember, some weapons on the attacking side can do upwards of as much as 47 damage. That means 3 bullets, you're out.
All right. Baron Gaming back again for CAG there.
Which means BlackRay's operator of Alibi will be rendered not useless, but a little bit less impactful against the likes of Force himself at least. Now, basement has been gained control of by SSG. We saw earlier that engagement, but Cyclops, they're up above. They want the 1st floor, they want the 2nd floor, and BlackRay, he wants a kill. He gets Bosco. That's almost too easy because he was on a drone, I believe. That means now that the advantage on the side of Cyclops. C4 was thrown towards Hot and Cold as well. Doesn't land, doesn't get the kill, of course. We saw what happened. Volsto sneaks in towards the bomb side, takes out 1, but gets traded back by Anyton. That's very good job for him. That's from up above. But that means that Hot and Cold can jump in, and that opens up the round for Rambi. That means 3 versus 2 in favor of SSG, but they got more work to do. 30 seconds left. All members up above. Cyclops, they still hold the bomb site, but they do not have the verticality because Hot and Cold got the hammer, and he's gonna start swinging.
Gator on these library stairs as one of the players from Space Station will start to walk down head-to-head with Rampy. Both great shots, but Gator somehow wins it. Rampy, were you just not expecting it? I'm not entirely certain. All of a sudden, this leaves Hot and Cold in a 1v2. Bullets firing away, and the 2 players from CAG are just simply too strong. Space Station on, again, another puzzling round, and CAG reacts to that one quite well.
That is one of those rounds where you gotta question SSG, what is going on? It sucks because they had the mid-round adaptation. Force got the kill, which opened up the round. Yes, it got traded back from Anyton, but that enabled the rest of his team of Hot and Cold and Rambi to get inside of Library and get 1 kill each. But then it falls apart simply due to a gunfight between Rambi and 1 member of Cyclops, and unfortunately, they fall a little bit short. Now, we're gonna see some fun from Anyton because he says it's Capcan time on that kitchen dining bomb site. And they're gonna get active on the roam as expected. They wanna cover as much ground with these traps as possible, especially if you're expecting Fultz to sit on that nuke and crawling around the map Force though, he says, not anymore. We're gonna play the Twitch this time around. Which means it's just Anyton all alone. He has to try and do some damage because otherwise he's gonna be helpless as SSG will start making their way down the trophy stairs.
And nade cooked and ready as once again Space Station finds themselves on such low time, and now they are on an evil man count. An equal man count, maybe even an evil one, as Anyton walks in and takes out Hot and Cold. Still upstairs inside of office, policing this part of the map. As it's right over top of the bomb site, it is crucial that this be held on to for as long as possible. A nade from Rampy sails out and it collects. An advantage once again back in the favor of SSG. These off-site players from CAG will be so crucial. Sky's taken down by a Capcan trap at this level. That is remarkable. Now it's Fultz to get tased away at, and he doesn't know where it is. Finally, with only just a shred of HP, he's taken down and finished off by Black Gray. This is an unconceivable round. CAG are everywhere, all at the same time. They take the first half 4-1.
Yep, I'm not sure what that hand motion was, like the wheel is spinning around or turning or something like that. But yeah, time and traps. That's the two things that happened that round. SSG were so slow in the mid-round again for the third time overall in these first 5 attacking rounds. And that's when the captain comes into play. When you don't have time to check every single door and every single window, that's when the captain trap might just take you out. That's what happened, and Anyton also got a kill with his weapon. Blackray got the 2k there at the end to finish off the round. Well done for Cyclops. They're maneuvering correctly, and SSG not really sure where the information game was happening because they droned out master bedroom, they droned out office, they had arguably half the map from that piano double door, but they never droned beyond it, so Anyton could just walk on in, take out Hot and Cold on the sledge, and then it's disaster. You lose the verticality, you lose some grenades, and you also create this chaos effect where, oh, SSG, they thought they had control, they thought they had an area secured, and then Anyton said, no, you actually didn't. So SSG need to go a little bit faster, drone a little bit more. But again, it's very much easier said than done because Cyclops are running out the map and they don't care at all.
He's got a magnet available to toss on out as the rest regenerate. 1 minute to go. We talked about the mid-round for SSG incessantly. This will be their last time to prove us wrong. Nice shot from SSG as they clean up. The 3 players from CAG, all of whom have died, have been a bit too aggressive, and sometimes it can burn you. But this was the weakest bomb site for Cyclops, and the only site that we saw SSG win on. Finally, some firepower from CAG as Rampy is no more, but yet there is still a massive numbers advantage favoring Space Station. It slowly narrows as Fultz will join Rampy down below, and so does Bosco, all right. Anyton had retaken to mid. Now it's Suzu, also working with Anyton down below. They are both weak, but so is Hot and Cold. Skies is the only one at full HP. Hot and Cold creeps up very tepidly. Skies is planting, and now Hot and Cold is down. That means that Skies has to take matters into his own hands, and he's behind the snowmobile, getting chunked away 5 HP. Secondary out. This is a hopeless situation, and frustration will go in. He doesn't die, but neither does CAG. A 5-1 first half for the Japanese squad is almost as good as it gets.
That was essentially a 2 versus 5 or a 2 versus 4 from Cyclops. Again, frustration. That seems to be the word that we keep bringing up because SSG, such frustrating rounds not going their way. That was arguably the best or second best round we've seen from them. Round 3 basement attack, that was great. This round of round 6 basement attack went really, really good until that last 40 seconds. Yes, indeed, it was a 2 versus 5. Suzu C got the vertical kill. Anyton on the roam find one as well. Drop back down, they reunited on side. Skies, last man standing with 2 seconds left, could not plant without cover.
And Cyclops is up 4-2. It's a 5-1 scoreline. That means match point for Cyclops if they can find these last 2 players in Skies and Fultz.
We've seen this exact situation before, but it's reversed. And this time around, Cyclops, they've been so efficient and so quick on their attack. They have a whole minute to work with. They got the sledge alive, which is very useful because, as you see, breaking down the castle barricades and breaking the floor up as well. The reason why SSG lost their attack in this situation was because of the traps from Anyton on that Capcan. Folks, he has the frost trap, so CAG, they need to be aware of it. But being from APAC, I feel like they're used to it. Skies almost gets taken down. That's again the verticality coming into play. Gonna see how the 2v4 plays out. But Skies running to the basement as the last man standing on the defense. Skies, that's not where the bomb site is, my friend. It's inside our kitchen.
Wow. Cyclops are making quick work of this. I don't know if they're aware that the games have gone a little bit longer today, but they're looking at our run of show and saying, oh, are you behind? Have the matches been a bit too competitive? Well, we're going to fix that for you. And Space Station heard it and go, all right, we're cool with that. Yeah, we're okay with that.
Yeah, and when we speak of Cyclops or APAC, we often say crazy gun skill, but honestly, they are so much more than that these days. CAG can be described as they don't care about the meta. They don't care about the way they're supposed to play the game, but it's a trade-off, 1-for-1, but Hot and Cold still oh so low on health. And yeah, as I was saying, Cyclops, they don't care about the right approach. They play it their way. It works sometimes, others it doesn't. And speaking of that, it's an LMG with a silencer of all things. Neck comes out, forces Hot and Cold to swing, but oh boy, that aim is crispy.
A nice play by Hot and Cold, who was on just 1 HP, and maybe a little bit of restlessness there from Gatorada as he was unable to connect despite the fact that the team knew Hot and Cold was in that corner. That's what the nade for, was to zone out. Gator gets one back, though, onto Fultz. We see a twitch with the DMR instead of the F2. That is an abnormality. Smokes get tossed out. In a brief moment, there will be a pause to pull the Legion Mine out of his foot. A 3v3. Can't call it a standstill, but Skies will greet the first player to go down the stairs. There you go, AUG in hand. It's the Capitao with the LMG. So many bullets. 30 more to go. Nothing Skies can do. Suzu down for the count. That's Hot and still on a tear with just 1 HP. What will he be able to accomplish? Diffuser getting planted. And there you go, a jiggle peek from Hot, and he's insane. A player who they have been so critical of internationally, suddenly hitting the marks. In a 1v1, Bosco finishes the deal against Anaton, and it's a denial of the map being clinched for the Japanese squad. They blow open walls in a shot or two, far better than most ARs and SMGs do. That's a big perk of having them. You saw it in action when Gator was shooting through the wall over towards Trench Wall with that DMR. It opened the whole thing up.
Oh, the fire. Rambi falls down. They had the one my disc, they had the ADSs, and somehow, with a nice lineup from Aniton, went for the window, cleared one thing with the smoke grenades, came back to the trophy window, and then used the fire from below, actually evading the one my discs from the side of Bosco. Cyclops doing a really good job at problem solving this early thing in their way, and that's often where teams go wrong. We speak about APAC not being the greatest region in the world, but honestly, Parker, they're goddamn close these days around.
They absolutely are, and it was tweeted out actually by Ali Mao earlier where he said every region is on the same level at this point, and this is a very competitive event. As somebody who often sings the praises of LATAM supremacy, well, I would take his advice, or I'd take his expertise over just about everybody else. 2 kills for SSG, answered back by 1 from CAG, a swing from Bosco through that soft destruction, and now the same position for him. Skies on the stairs could come head first against Black Ray. Gatorada getting into the action as he just tries to merge slowly with his other teammate. An explosion over that window from SSG, and they know exactly where CAG are going to come from.
Look at him checking for the first trap. That is again, the APAC approach, right? I feel like I would have forgotten about it by now, even though Fultz has boarded 2 rounds so far. But making sure you don't get caught in the first trap is a very good approach to jumping in a window. Otherwise, your teammate will be in a 1v3.
Retrievable, by the way, but in dire straits. Oh, what did you just talk about? The Frost Mat. He walks right into it. Skies and Fultz clean up one of the 2 players inside of the Frost Mat. Pog Mat, as they call it. And we are looking at, again, as so many of these maps are, a very defender-sided Chalet. That's 2 rounds in a row for Space Station again.
Yeah, that, and I mean, you got many more rounds to go with your CAG. You can lose the next, it doesn't matter, then win the one following that. And still, you got it, because you are on map point. It is map 1 on Chalet. And I think taking the time out now to really talk things through and try and close it out. You do not want to go to OT. We spoke earlier about how, you know, CAG, they don't really close out rounds. They seem to get the advantage, they get the numbers, and then somehow enemies, they make a comeback, either via adaptation, they get used to the playstyle of CAG, or simply just because CAG, they seem to, I don't know, not try less, but just not really try enough, if you will. They seem to play with a lot of fun, which of course, that is a good approach to the game, but also, you gotta make sure you get 7 rounds on the board, then you can laugh, then you go next and do the same thing again. SSG can be happy, they won the round, and again, we're getting closer and closer to that comeback being enabled. Yeah, Hot and Cold. Good job, Hot and Cold. Good job. I would have personally just run away if I saw that, you know, run into the bathroom and say, you know what, time is running low, my teammates will be there, we'll figure it out, but sometimes you gotta stand your ground and just take the fight, and that's what they did. Denying the walls with the Kite Claw. That's going to be a big problem for CAG, as there is no Maverick on the board, there is no Thatcher on the board, as that is banned. All they have is explosive, they have grenades, but they only have 2. If you miss, you only have 1 left. And remember, they need 2 grenades to strike true, as there will be 2 Kite Claws on this map to stop them from achieving their objective.
Talon shield put out, Talon window put out, whatever you'd like to call it. That's the Osa shield. And a nade goes in, dislodging anybody playing on the stairs from down below up to the main lobby. Sky's playing in that spot. He gets droned out. There's barbed wire there as well to alert him of any presence of a player heading down. Electric Claw firmly planted on that hard wall, and you need something to shake it off. CAG have not really brought anything to deal with it. So what are they going to do to shake it away? Are they going to instead opt for another part of the map? There's only 2 Electric Claws at the disposal of a Kaid, so that means that unless there's an additional operator put in, like say, I don't know, Bosco's mute, that you will have some difficulty opening things up. But just like that, they've actually managed to do it. They get it open, and now they all stand behind this shield. They're going to smoke and go for broke. In goes Anaton, down falls Black Ray. SSG are gunning them down. This strategy from CAG seems well thought out, but it is in fact not going the way they want. Hot and cold, the first casualty for Space Station. Anaton behind the shield, the deployed shield for Osa, not a deployable shield, but one of her own. Diffuser in hand. Tries to bait it out. Wary of what could happen down the main stairs. It's a 2v4, so you have to rely on the thermite to cover. A potential drop as there's Rampy from above, called out, spraying through, lots of damage done to Anaton. Still there though, as now you've fallen back. You have to surrender some control of the garage. This was a go for broke strat from CAG, and it did not work the way they were intending.
I really respect the try to rush, but then again, you don't go for the plant instantaneously. Anaton was sitting there, waiting with his gun up, expecting a fight from SSG, but joke's on you, there was nobody on the fireplace stairs. There was no one up above to respond until you gave them so much time to respond, rotate around, and therefore get into position. And now, you're in quite a bad situation. You have almost no health, there's your last smoke grenade, you don't even have cover, because Suzuki is going up above. You have to pray that the smoke is enough, but it's not. Sky has a C4, Rampy stays on the roam, and they both find 1 kill each. Now, we're getting very close for SSG. Rampy juking the fire by just an inch. He doesn't have a lot of space to work with. Those discs have now been burned in ADSs, of course, but they will recharge over time. That means the longer SSG can delay for, the better for them. Cyclops, they've burned most of their utility. They have no nades. They only have 3 flashbangs and 1 arrow left from the side of Anaton. That means SSG, you're in the driver's seat. If you don't overstep your boundaries, there's no way for them to take you out. I think they know this, and they're playing their cards smart because they are waiting for CAG to make the first move.
And CAG just tried to do it with Suzuki, taking a ton of damage. Gatarada dropping Rampy, and another lined up too, but on the floor doing the worm is Bosco. Fultz in on it too, Skies as well, a double, and it's Anaton against all of SSG but Rampy. It almost certainly seems like overtime, unless Anaton is able to pull off one of the most insane clutches we have ever seen in the history of Rainbow Six. And I say that without any hyperbole. The things required to go right for Anaton quite high, but immediately things go wrong. That's the round, and that's the second half. Space Station put together 5 rounds in a row. Cyclops in major trouble on their own map.
They'll start working their way down as the time progresses because SSG, they don't care too much about the map. They want the bomb site to be safe. But if you can burn the time and kill some drones and burn some utility, you'll put yourself in an even better position for once the bomb site becomes the play. Meanwhile, all this is happening, Anaton, he's painting something on the wall. It looks like a square, and so far, looking quite nice indeed. Those edges are nice and soft, they're not that rough, and that means that they will have a way in. The wall has now been made soft. That's something you can do with Maverick if you go from left to right or right to left, and that will create them an entry point into sight. But with 40 seconds left to go in this 5v5, that does favor the defenders, but then again, Gatarada gets the opening kill onto Rampy with a second onto Bosco.
All of a sudden, the guns are hitting their marks for CAG, overwhelming the defenders of Space Station. Skies and Hot and Cold, the only 2 players to have broken double digits are left, and Hot and Cold will continue to add to his tally. He's got the wall carved out. Scotterata in tow, but Hot and Cold at such close range is able to win that fight with a single HP to his name. He'll walk out and reclaim his spot upstairs inside a lobby. Finished off by Gator, and it's Skies in a 1v2, make it a 1v1. Keep away from the Kite, 7 seconds left for him to buy time. The thing is that Anaton has access to the fuser and he'll play around it, but you don't beat Skies in that close proximity, not like that. Suddenly, Space Station Gaming have done something that's been impossible for this entire map, and it's grabbed the lead. It's SSG on match point.
So, fun fact, I'm going to break some hearts here. If Scotterata didn't use the silencer on the LMG, Hot and Cold would have died, putting CAG in that 1 versus 2 with ease. But because Scotterata used the silencer, it allowed for Hot and Cold to win the gunfight and survive with 1 HP. So fun fact, as fun as silencers can be, sometimes they achy break your heart, and other times they're fun as a party. That's what I'm gonna say, because I was gonna say a bad word. Fun as a party, that's what they are. Bar. That's where we'll go. SSG have to show that they can do this on attack. If they do just that, they'll have won the last 7 rounds in a row if they can muster up this attacking win. Cyclops continue to get the opening kill time and time again, but they cannot convert it into a round win for their life. And that just means, again, SSG, the clutch factor we always speak about.
I actually find this stat particularly funny, Nick, is that in the first half, a 5-1 half in favor of Cyclops. It was SSG who got the majority of the opening picks. In the second half, a 5-1 half for Space Station. It was Cyclops who got the majority of the opening picks. So both of these teams have been very successful when it comes to starting off the killing. But the follow-up killing is very subdued for these teams. So it's almost the inverse of the stat line where we say, well, you know, if you get the first pick 80% of the time, you win the round. Yeah. This time, it's you don't want the first pick. Do everything in your power to avoid that first pick. The rest of the team, I beg you, don't get in there and get the first pick. Let the opponents have it. And you know what it's going to end with? It's going to end with round 15. They're all just going to be in the same room. All 10 players, nobody killing one another because they don't want to give it up.
SSG doing what they did on one of the the third attack that they had back in the day. They're gonna take basement first, open up this wall into stock. That's gonna allow them some pressure into side, but then last time they worked their way outside the basement and started working first and second floor. Gotta keep an eye on the timer, because last time SSG was on attack, which was a while ago, that was their problem. They kept stalling in the mid round, they kept taking too much time. When the time is low, they run it through, but they make mistakes. And that's how CAG claws it back.
SSG usually had a kill by now. We are firmly in the mid-round with about half of the round to go, and I think I just spoke it into existence. Bosco punishing Anaton, the best player for CAG, 14 kills, and more importantly, playing on that very pivotal role of smoke. So you've got an avenue into the bomb site that will no longer be protected by those gadgets. It is an active gadget, meaning that smoke dies with them in pocket. A minute to go. SSG hit an adrenal surge, and now they can afford to wait a little bit. They don't need to immediately push into the bomb site because they got that first pick. They can still do drone work and then assess where they want to strike.
Absolutely true, and again, as you said, they can now just wait. They can now execute at 20 seconds, 15 seconds, it doesn't matter. There isn't anything to stop them besides the guns and 1C4 from Scotterata. And SSG, they want to make sure they hit this site with knowledge, with information, so that they can make the right decision, because if you misstep, that's going to be the round, and you go 7-7. You want to avoid that as you walk in, but Bosco finds one, with Rampy following up shortly after. Ayagata answering back. The chaos unfolds, but SSG, they come out on top. 2 versus 4 with 15 seconds left. And Suzuki on this blue stairs can't do enough. The last player, Scotterata, he's also up top. Yellow ping comes out, and he finds the diffuser of Hot and Cold, but now he's left all alone. 1 versus 3, and time is ticking down. SSG will start planting once again. Is there information? Is there a ping? There is. He's trying to find the angle. He can't quite get it because Skies, he finds him. And SSG somehow, someway, wins every single round in a row to take Chalet, the first map of this best of 3.
7 maps in a row. 7 damn rounds in a row to take the map. I am just, my brain is melted inside of my skull, Nick.
Oh boy.
This is...
We saw it all.
When we looked at our matches today and we knew we had CAG versus Space Station, we said to each other, you know, this can go one of two ways. This can be a real close nail biter, or it can be an absolute stomp. And I mean, you might have a messy game, you might have a clean game, but so far it has lived up to its billing. Both of these teams, knowing that they are towards the bottom of their group and they are playing like their lives depend on it. The thing for Cyclops is that their map was Chalet. They just surrendered it 7-8 to Space Station, and you said that Clubhouse was interwoven with SSG's identity. Well, guess what the next map is? It's Space Station's pick on Clubhouse.
Clubhouse time. I would like to preface right now before the ban phase after the break once we get there that I would like to see a Monty ban from SSG. Fully out, take it off the board. Anderton did showcase it on Chalet, but then 6 picked off it. I think SSG can be super comfortable if they get a default Clubhouse, right? The way that most teams normally play it, and the way that Chalet is. You know, out on the map at Roamers, it's hard to control your opponent, especially on attack. That's where they struggled. But on Clubhouse, it's much more compartmentalized. It's much more default. You know what to expect. You know where the enemies are going to be. And that's where SSG are so much stronger than the likes of Cyclops, presumably.
Presumably, because we saw Cyclops go out to a massive lead in the first half, and then SSG reeled it in. We have not been able to accurately predict almost any of today's matchups.
No.
If you think about it, almost every single result has been the opposite of what the majority of us as casters have guessed. So most people going into this matchup would have guessed that SSG would take it. The first map goes in SSG's favor. You're right there, but anything can happen. On Clubhouse, SSG are going to look to knock CAG out of today's match. We'll see exactly what happens, but first a break, and then we'll be back with more Rainbow Six.